All right, so is Jordan Love's season already over? This is the Fantasy Sports Boss with an Eagles-Packers wrap-up from last night, and just a wild, wild game. The Packers falling short 34-29 to the Eagles. Lots to unwind here. Just a sloppy game altogether. Jalen Hurts, had some good, quite a few bad moments. Also had some good moments as well. And Saquon Barkley, what can you say? He was just downright electric and brought back very good memories of his rookie season with the New York Giants. But we're going to get to that later. I want to update the Jordan Love situation because the more you look at this, and now there's close-up shots of the knee when he went down. And, luckily, as I've said to you guys before, I'm married to a PA, and I even had her look at the video. And basically, it's we're either looking at a torn ACL, and obviously he'd be done for the season, or it could be a high ankle sprain, which would be a month plus. So, but the consensus seems to be, and I know there's outlets on Twitter, X, that specialize in discussing NFL injuries. It seems to be the consensus is leaning toward a torn ACL or an MCL for that matter. And obviously that would finish Jordan Love for the season off a 260-yard, 2-touchdown performance in the passing game through one interception. But man, listen, the ramifications are huge here, and I discussed it earlier. If Jordan Love is done for the season, like Jaden Reed becomes a flex play at best, and that's the crazy thing. He caught 4 passes for 138 yards and a touchdown. Also took a carry for 33 yards and another score. So, it's going to be major, major trouble for Jaden Reed to yield consistent fantasy production with Malik Willis at quarterback. Clearly the Packers would have to sign somebody. Ryan Tannehill, did they already call him? Just an ugly situation if that's exactly what happens. And here's the other thing, guys, and this is a bad sign. Usually when these injuries happen to high-profile players like Jordan Love, and that's what he is, highest-paid player in the league, you get an initial update when things are looking positive. Like, okay, it looks like he's avoided the worst, just more testing on the way. We have not heard that at all, and that's a bad sign. That means, to me, that Jordan Love is in... They're doing additional testing today, not releasing any information, but the initial fear is that he tore his ACL. So, how does this impact Josh Jacobs? So Josh Jacobs last night, 16 of 84. He averaged 5.3 a carry. Looked good. Slow start, caught 2 passes for 20 yards. They're going to lean on him very heavily, but the efficiency will probably plummet because they're going to stack the box against him. You had to be encouraged at least that Josh Jacobs pretty much got every carry, in this game there. Romeo Doubs caught 4 passes for 50 yards. Christian Watson, 3 for 13 and a score. So he remains very touchdown dependent. But this could be a debilitating issue for the Green Bay Packers 1 game into the season. Now, as far as the Eagles are concerned, the offense started awful. Jalen Hurts wanted to give the game away. He threw an interception, lost a fumble, but wound up putting together a decent day. And I say decent because of the 3 turnovers altogether. 20 of 34 passing, 278, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Ran for 33 yards and lost a fumble. So the rushing yardage just was not there. The Green Bay Packers were really quick laterally, defensively, so they were not allowing Jalen Hurts to get to the outside. But Saquon Barkley, wow. 24 for 109, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 catches for 23 yards and another score. So the rushing 4.5 per carry, and it was a little, he was at under 4 yards for, the first half until he turned it on later. But Barkley looked electric. There's no doubt about it. Now you can say, okay, he got away from the Giants and the awful offensive lines they had over the last couple of years, and this is true. And so that alone helped him. But this is a guy that's still, in the latter years of his prime, but he's still in this prime. He looked good. There was a little scare right before the half when he went out. And Kenneth Gainwell finished off the half, but he seems to be fine. Yes, the injury risk still remains significant. And as far as the passing game, the biggest thing for me was, is he going to be involved in the passing game? Only 2 catches, right? So Jalen Hurts just doesn't throw to his running backs. We saw that with DeAndre Swift, who's a terrific receiving running back, who was barely involved in the passing game last year. Will that continue? I don't know. That could make Barkley very rushing, touchdown dependent on the ground. But here's the other key. Barkley was getting carries around the goal line. They weren't relying on Jalen Hurts to run it in. So is this going to be a Lamar Jackson situation now where they don't run Lamar Jackson around the goal line anymore, maybe to preserve Jalen Hurts? If so, that's bad news for Jalen Hurts' value. It's only 1 game. We're not going to go crazy here, but now the Eagles have somebody that can take the ball in when they're, inside the 5 yard line. They no longer need to run Jalen Hurts on on a keeper or whatnot. So that's something to keep an eye on there. AJ Brown 5 for 119 and a touchdown, so he does his 100-yard thing as he always does. Devontae Smith 7 for 84, so Devontae Smith had a good game. Dallas Goedert 4 for 31, so the ball was spread around pretty well. Usually when all three of them are on the field together, Devontae Smith tends to lose some targets, but he was, 8 targets to 10 for AJ Brown, so it was pretty close between the two of them. But again, the Jordan Love thing, I'm going to update as we go along. Hit that subscribe button, guys. There will be a live stream tomorrow, 11:30 Eastern time, so stay tuned for that.